Hello, I'm Doug Atkinson here at Solutions Review, and I want to thank all of our keynote speakers, expert moderators, panelists, and solutions sponsors for participating in this year's Insight Jam Live. This has been a big year with the launch of the InsightJam.com community site and the amazing growth of the Insight Jam YouTube channel, which now has over 500,000 subscribers. Much of this success is tied directly to the video events, podcasts, and panel discussions we have been producing, and none of that would be possible without the thoughtful participation of the many IT professionals who are generously sharing their expert insights for this latest jam. We are building Insight Jam to be a place to celebrate enterprise technology with best practices, expert analysis, and solution showcases. And we want all of you to join us there to keep the jam going into the new year and beyond. If you haven't joined Insight Jam, please do. And if you already have, take a moment to invite some of your colleagues. And again, thank you all for being here and enjoy this event.
Solutions Review presents the Insight Jam Expert Keynote.
Hey everyone, welcome. My name is John Santaferraro, and I am the CEO and Head Research Analyst at Ferraro Consulting. A little bit about myself. I've been in this data analytics AI space for about 26 years now. This is probably the most exciting part of it, but I've spent time on the vendor side. I've been a chief analytics officer. And for the last 6 years, I've been following the industry closely as an industry analyst. And today I want to talk about something that is really important because we are seeing so much hype around artificial intelligence. I want to talk about how to spot an AI imposter. It is important because look at the explosion that's happening. I mean, right now, according to Exploding Topics, proper name for it, there are 70,000 companies worldwide that claim to be AI companies, 115 million companies using artificial intelligence in some way. And I just checked this today. Hugging Face now has 1.4 million models, apps, and data sets. It's crazy. This is too much. It's impossible to keep up with this explosion that is happening. One of the trends that I'm seeing is that in this AI explosion, we're already seeing leaders set apart from the laggards. McKinsey, in their quote of the day about a month ago, said, "GenAI is a great addition to any activity that requires creativity and needs human interaction or leadership. And if managed correctly, GenAI can help employees be happier, more content, and focus on what they love doing." Now, that's a little bit pie in the sky, but the fact is that generative AI is already proving valuable, and we're already watching the leaders separate themselves from the laggards. Along with that, generative AI hype has opened Pandora's box. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, think about the leadership team at OpenAI and all that has happened there. The inflection AI leadership completely gone. There's new regulatory and legal requirements that are coming in, compliance, reporting, now attached to AI, especially in the European Union. It's coming in the United States, probably California first. There's massive infrastructure cost. Running GPUs is not cheap. It's expensive, and it consumes massive amounts of energy. The fact is there's not enough energy on the planet today to support the speed at which artificial intelligence is growing. The profits for companies that have venture funding and other funding are elusive. There's inflated valuations into the trillions of dollars. And in 2023, there was $62 billion invested in artificial intelligence. In 2024, will probably arrive at about $80 billion invested. That is craziness, folks. There's going to be an explosion. We saw the dot bomb in 2001. We are going to see a nuclear explosion when this AI bubble explodes. And so it really has become the wild, wild west out there. That said, I love this quote by Buckminster Fuller. He is one of my favorite architects, philosophers. He says, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. Well, guess what? AI and generative AI are making former models obsolete. It's no longer about just a person sitting at a desk, sitting at a computer, doing the work, or even sitting in their home, remote working and doing their work. We are approaching a day where there will be more AI agents in a company than there are employees in that same organization. And so the world is going to be incredibly different. And the fact is, to do nothing with artificial intelligence isn't an option. There's already proven value being demonstrated in terms of acceleration, the productivity that employees are getting, and the creation of content and the creation of code. Two areas where we're really seeing people take advantage of generative AI, especially. In the world of automation, there is incredible acceleration of business processes, acceleration of analytical processing. It's everything. And that means there's an acceleration of innovation as well. One of the boardroom topics in every company on the planet today is innovation and how fast can I innovate? And what happens with generative AI and artificial intelligence is we're seeing those innovation cycles move at a faster and faster pace. And the companies that are figuring out how to do that, they will dominate their industries with their digital capabilities. So let's back up a little bit and talk about what is AI and what is generative AI. I'm going to let you take a moment to read these definitions. These are my definitions. I just want to say that artificial intelligence is really this idea that machines think like humans. And frankly, we are still a ways off from having computers that fully think like humans, including things like self-learning, reasoning, deciding, correcting, communicating, and most importantly, increasing overall intelligence without being prompted to do so. Intergenerative AI. Generative AI is really simple. It's AI that generates content with processing capabilities like the human mind. But it's all based on human input to guide the creation of the content. So this explosion that we've seen in Gen AI is actually explainable. You think about the kinds of things that we're doing, writing, graphics, music, video, code. All of these are fully digital, fully digitized. And so if you look at what was happening in the 10 years, how much content is there on the internet that is fully 100% digital? Think of all the images on Google Images alone and all of the other image storages online, music and Spotify and other music companies online, videos with Netflix and Prime Video and everywhere. Every piece of code is digital. So because all of that has been digital, we're seeing advancement with Gen AI in these because we've already been automating all of this in the last 10 years. In every one of these areas, there's been major investment so that when natural language capabilities came along and generative capabilities came along with Gen AI, all of these took off in their use of Gen AI. And it is important to look back in the last decade to see what was happening. And I specifically want to look at the use of generative AI and AI in the business intelligence, data, and analytics space, because it tells the story. And it will be applicable in every other area where you're trying to spot the AI imposter. So all the way back in 2019, think about this, right? 2019, 5 years ago, we already had most of what is sort of exploding onto the market today: assisted insight, automated insight, next best question, next best insight, visual recommendation, natural language queries, where the query would come back and there would be a natural language explanation. You could ask questions verbally of business intelligence tools. They could recognize images. You could start to type something in and it would autofill. All of this was available in 2019. The same was true with data engineering. This is based on some research that I did back in 2019, and I found, in each of these areas, probably 5 to 10 companies that were already beginning to use AI enablement in their platforms. In the area of data engineering, they were already doing data profiling automatically, data cleansing, data parsing, data prep. There were suggestions for data integrations and data prep. The platforms were offering next best action. They were doing data format discovery, correlation suggestions. Here's a data set that should be used with these others. It was already happening in 2019. The same was true in metadata services, and by metadata services include data catalogs, master data management, and data governance, automated data governance tools. There were already at least 10 things in metadata services that were being automated and AI enabled all the way back in 2019. And so when it comes to trying to determine who are the real AI and generative AI leaders and who are the laggards and who are the imposters, you really have to go back and look 6 and 8 and 10 years in the past. And the winners today are almost hands down the companies that were already beginning to do this 5 and 10 years ago. And the laggards are those that have just jumped into the game in the last year or two. So here's my perspective, and I think this makes sense to look at the market and what's happening today in 2024. First of all, you have the add-ons. These are people that when generative AI exploded on the scene in November of 2022, they looked at it and they thought, oh, wow, we have to do something. And so they literally just bolted generative AI onto their platform. They had their basic BI and data management capabilities, and they were enterprise ready. But as a result of just tacking AI on at the end, they have limited AI enablement and limited automation. And then there are the newbies. These are people who saw the explosion of ChatGPT and they saw the emergence of all of the other generative AI companies and platforms that were coming on board, and they decided we can do this. Let's start a company. Let's start a BI company. Let's start a data management company. And so they embedded generative AI at the core of what they were doing, and they have a lot of fancy new AI capabilities, but it's a lot of flash. They have limited BI and data management capabilities, limited enterprise capabilities. And then there's the laggards. These are easy to spot. These are the BI and data management companies that still have little to no Gen AI and limited automation. Honestly, at this point, I don't think they're even worth looking at. The leaders are those that started 5 and 10 years ago. 5 and 10 years ago, and they already, when Gen AI came on board, they embedded it fully in the platform because they already had a core AI engine in their platform. They have deep BI and data management capabilities and extensive enterprise capabilities. So how do you spot an AI imposter? You probably know the story of a $100 bill, right? The way that they teach bank tellers to spot an imposter when it comes to a $100 bill is they have them study the $100 bill, the right one, the real one, and they study every little component, every little piece. and they look at it so closely and they've seen it so many times that when the imposter shows up, it's obvious to them immediately that it is not real. And so at Ferraro Consulting, we've come up with 4 different things that are crucial to recognizing the real thing. The first one is the crucial role of business semantics for GenAI leadership. Basically, if your business intelligence or data management AI doesn't speak business like you speak business, it will fail. And so the way this is a business intelligence example here, this is the kind of architecture that you should expect to see. A BI platform or a data catalog platform with a business semantic layer. And in BI especially, you don't want GenAI to actually touch the data itself because you have the problems of hallucination, conflagrations. I mean, it doesn't work. And so the business semantic layer and metadata layer allows GenAI to actually interact with the business semantics that are already built into the BI platform, fire off the compute engine because, by the way, GenAI is not a powerful compute engine. It's the compute engine that is already trusted in the platform that touches the data. The data comes back to the compute engine, and from there is served out into the GenAI engine so that what is being delivered to the end user is accurate. And so the importance of business semantics as a component in business intelligence and data management tools in the use of generative AI is absolutely essential. Second, there's the undeniable advantage of existing AI enablement. Again, the winners and the leaders in the use of generative AI were already doing AI enablement within their platform. They're already doing analytics. They are already doing machine learning. There were recommendation engines within. There were simulation engines within. And the generative AI then sits on top of that, working through a layer of business semantics, as well as accessing the language models, and then exposing up to the end users not only generative AI capabilities, but all of the capabilities of the underlying AI engine. This is really important because generative AI is not that powerful. It doesn't do what a machine learning engine will do. It doesn't do what a lot of advanced analytics engines will do. It's not a recommendation engine. You wouldn't run your recommendation engines in GenAI. You're not going to create a simulation there. So the generative AI is the icing on the cake. It's only as good as the AI capabilities that sit down below the generative AI. So the third area is the ever-increasing value of human-in-the-loop feedback. It's absolutely essential to have human-in-the-loop feedback, and I have had conversations with many vendors who are using GenAI, and I always ask them, are you doing human-in-the-loop feedback? And their answer is always yes. And 80% of them at that point, all they show me is thumbs up or thumbs down. And at Ferraro Consulting, we've identified 6 different levels of human-in-the-loop feedback. And to choose the best business intelligence platform, the best data management platform, the best metadata service platform in the use of generative AI, look for this kind of advanced human-in-the-loop feedback. So it begins with thumbs up or thumbs down, but language corrections. The end users need to be able to offer suggestions for corrections when the language that is associated within the large language model, the end users need to be able to give feedback and say, actually, it's great that you think state is equal to region, but I'm currently operating in a European country and we don't call them states. And I need something that is definitely reflective of my particular area, my region, and the language that I use. It's especially true when companies actually have their own glossary, their own language that they speak amongst themselves, the way they talk about the business. The third is phrase breakdown. The ability for probably a super user or an admin to be able to look at certain business phrases and associate them with either the semantic model or with the large language model, because it's not just corrections in terms of the specificity of the language. A lot of times there's phrases that mean something very specific, and that phrase won't be in a database. It won't be in a large language model. So that ability to sort of micromanage and reassociate words and phrases, extremely important. And then you want your admins to be able to choose the best possible associations. You want to put a lot in the hands of the end users, but ultimately you need a subject matter expert that can look at a glossary and provide the best possible choice for the application. And third, there's got to be admin control, top-down prioritization of who really has authority to make changes, who doesn't. That's super important. And the final is transparency. All this has to be open. Clear sight to all feedback that is given, and in fact, to be able to look at and analyze the full set of feedback as it's given over time, and to compare that to the accuracy of the generative AI results. The next area, the fourth area, is the personal value of persona-based AI agents. So it was about 6 months ago that I predicted that there would be a sort of a softening of the conversation around generative AI, a waning of that, and there would be an upsurgence of conversations around AI agents and agentic architectures. And guess what? It's happening. It is happening right now. An AI agent is a piece of software that can reason, that can learn, that can act, that can react, that collaborate with people or other agents. It can do basically almost everything that a person can do. And so this is a business intelligence example that you see in this in this diagram. There are basically three different kinds of AI agents. There's task-based agents that simply do a task. We saw recently there was a big Anthropic announcement about a month ago, and in that announcement they had an agent that could book flights, that could book travel. They had a whole list of different tasks that agents could do. The second type of agent is a business process agent. And we've already been doing robotic process automation for a long time. And so we have tons of data around business processes. And by the way, tasks and business processes are good ways to think about AI agents. The third type of AI agent is a persona-based AI agent. It's an agent that sort of mimics what a person would do. So for example, in the world of business intelligence, you have a person called a business analyst. That business analyst typically serves a portion of business users, providing them with data and insight that they need to be able to operate their business and make insight influence decisions. They have specific access to a set of data and compute power and tools. Well, what happens is an AI agent within a business intelligent platform would be able to do everything that a business analyst could do. They would have access to the same data, but they would be entirely compute, entirely artificial intelligence. And they have two purposes. because they mimic the work of the business analyst and have access to all of the analyst data, first of all, they can assist the analyst. Nobody knows the data and the agent better than the business analyst. So if the business analyst can't find something or figure something out, that analyst would know exactly how to prompt the AI agent to get the desired results. They will be the power user, the best user. So they assist the business analyst in their job. And second, they extend the business analyst. Because of the nature of generative AI, the AI agent analyst will be able to take questions and respond to people, to programs, to other agents. And so it's not a replacement of the business analyst. It basically is an assistant and an extension of the business analyst. And the leaders are already looking at agentic architectures and AI agents as a part of their AI-enabled platforms. And so that is the fourth piece to look for in terms of AI enablement that sets the leaders apart from all others. So what are some recommendations for executives and analytics leaders? What can you take away from this? 5 things. Number 1, select vendors based on their advanced use of generative AI and AI in general. That is a win. Don't be fooled by the hype. Don't be fooled by somebody just because they have a really good demo. You have to ask the questions to get underneath and find out exactly how the generative AI, GenAI enabled platform works and what's below it. Second, identify opportunities for GenAI in the analytic lifecycle. There's a lot of talk about using GenAI in code, absolutely wonderful, in content creation, especially for marketing, creative creation for people that are in the creative fields, whether it's music or images or movies, whatever it is, there's so much that can be done there. One of the areas that I think we have been missing is that there are opportunities to use generative AI all across the analytical lifecycle. From the moment you touch data, all of the data transformation, all of the data preparation, all of the data cataloging, all of the master data, all of the master data services, all of them are extremely open because it's all digital. Number 3, foster a culture of innovation. Let people work with generative AI and with artificial intelligence. Create some guardrails around it, but set people free. Now is the time to start moving forward in this. And so I've talked to some companies that are holding back giving it to their employees, and give them something because they're already using it at home. They're already using it in other places. And then foster this culture of innovation. Reward people for ideas that they come up with on how to use the technology. 4, create a continuous learning environment. Train people on how to use AI. Train the executives. Make sure they're aware of the opportunities. And then 5th, measure the business impact of generative AI. Really simple. There's 5 different areas you can measure. Create a baseline and look at how you can reduce time, total hours spent preparing data, doing any activity, the lowering of resources, the curtailing of cost, the speed at which you can deliver data or services, and the rate of innovation. When you cut time out, when you enable resources to free up the time that they have and their allocation, and when there's more money, that money can be used to innovate at a faster pace. So here's your checklist. Take these 5 things and use this. Next time you go to a demo, these are the 5 things you can do. Tell them, show me the metadata. Ask them, do you speak the language of my business? Can you show me the full spectrum of your AI enablement? Have you prepared for the coming AI agent revolution? And can you help me measure the business impact of generative AI.
For video highlights, replays, and more, visit insightjam.com.